Hi, it's Serena from highlyrecommendedbooks.com, and I'm here today to tell you why I loved and why I highly recommend The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. Now, as you'll recall, he wrote The Silent Patient, which was a great critical success in 2019. He mentions in his author's note that he was worried about whether or not this book would be as well received. Well, he didn't need to worry because it's an absolutely fabulous book. He also makes a shout out in his author's note to all of the grand dames of British murder mystery writing, and number one in that list is Agatha Christie, which supports all of my theories about Agatha Christie being really the 20th century's greatest mystery writer. When we consider the book, and again, the title is important here, but even the cover picture is important. So you have a picture here of a Grecian statue of a woman, but you'll see there's blood around the neckline. And even the title of the book, The Maidens, is an important clue and shout out to ancient Greek mythology and its relevance to the story. The ancient Greek mythology, which Michaelides is referring to here, is the story of Demeter and Persephone. Now, Demeter was the mother of Persephone. Demeter was the goddess of the harvest and goddess of fertility. And her daughter Persephone was dragged down to the underworld by Hades because he wanted a consort. This upset Demeter so much that she stopped providing for the harvest, and all of the people on earth were starving, so Zeus had to intercede. He went down and convinced Hades in a compromise to allow Persephone to come back up and live with her mother for half the year. So in that half the year, Demeter provides for the harvest and make sure that everyone has enough food. And this is how the ancient Greeks described or explained the changing of the seasons and crops and fertility. Now, the title, The Maidens, is also important because the women being killed here are all obviously maidens. They're all young college students. And the two main characters are unmarried women. There's Mariana, and she's unmarried because she is actually recently widowed, and her daughter, who she's raising, it's actually her niece, but she raises her as if it's her daughter. So Mariana and Zoe are both maidens as well. Now, Zoe attends Cambridge University, and she calls Mariana to tell her that there's been an abduction. Her best friend is missing. We learned very quickly that her best friend's body has been found and she's been gruesomely murdered. So Mariana goes there to help Zoe deal with this loss, and the two of them decide that they want to figure out who the murderer is. And they decide very quickly that the murderer is a professor, Professor Fosca, who is a professor of Greek tragedy. So again, it's all circling around here. They believe he is the murderer, but the police don't. And so they decide that they need to prove to the police that he is actually the murderer. And they are absolutely convinced he's the murderer. And I'm not giving anything away here because this is raised on the very first page of the book. Anyway, they work throughout the story to prove he is the murderer. And I don't want to tell you anything else, but I will tell you that Michaelides gives us all the proof we need to absolutely agree that he is the murderer, and they are doing a great job of describing this to the police. Now, I want to point out one other thing here, that Michaelides gives a shout out to his previous work, The Silent Patient, and refers to characters from that story. So I love that fact of continuity. So this is why I highly recommend this book. he is a brilliant author. He is really well educated. He weaves all of the facets of the Greek mythological story into this story. He keeps us guessing throughout the entire story as to who the actual murderer is and whether that murderer will be caught and convicted by the police. It's not a police procedural by any means, because it's just two women trying to figure out who is murdering other women, trying to keep everyone safe. So if you loved The Silent Patient and you love Greek mythology and you love a great mystery in the tradition of Agatha Christie, then you will love this story, and I highly recommend it. Now, don't forget to go on my website, highlyrecommendedbooks.com, sign up for my newsletter, because by doing that, you will enter yourself into a drawing for a once a month giveaway of a bunch of books and other really fun stuff. So have a great day and keep reading.